Coming up in today's video, watch us remove this long piece of keratin from somebody's ear canal. Stay tuned for a very retracted eardrum as well at the end of the videos today. My name is Rhys Barber. I'm one of the audiologists here at Audiology Associates.
And my name is Taylor Green, and I'm the other audiologist here. So, yeah, suspicious one to start with.
Very deep earwax with a nice dent in the middle. So obviously patient's been using some Q-tips. This patient's been really struggling with their hearing. Actually, they've had real difficulty, lots of tinnitus as well on this side since they've been feeling blocked up. They've actually managed to push the wax right down into the most sensitive part of the ear, into that osseous portion of the ear canal. So as we started to pull that out, you saw the patient flinch a little bit, and that's because there was some dry skin attached to the canal wall, and that is ultra sensitive, that particular part of the ear canal, which is why we advise you not to keep using cotton buds, guys. Yeah. But we've got a good grip here with a standard size on the tube. So out this is coming.
Like a little nugget.
It is. It was like a really, really deep nugget. Patient had instant relief as far as their hearing was concerned. That was the piece of skin that was attached. Yeah, that was the piece. So when you take a look now, it looks nice and healthy in there. No issues there whatsoever. So that is, I'm going to go 3/8 of an inch.
Oh, it's a centimetre, that's an easy one.
Simple, that one. That's an easy one to see. Guys, make sure you stay tuned for the videos today. We've got some really good ones in there. Lots of keratin in there for you as well, so make sure you stay tuned for those ones. Oh, no, my goodness me. Look at that.
Fair play. We had a lovely lady come into clinic, having some issues with the hearing on one ear, on this side. Patient had actually reported using multiple different drops, not recently, but like sort of previous to booking the appointment.
My goodness,
and it hasn't touched it, and I'm not surprised. This is like concrete.
That's so old, that plug, isn't it? It's like a stone. That is rock solid.
And you'll just see we use loads of different tools in here. This is a curettage removal, so there's no other suction. I know I popped the suction tube in to start with, but it didn't touch the sides. So we are gonna, well, we've got the St. Bart's hook in here now, which is just a 90-degree hook that we use, which is pretty effective with some.
It's just not penetrating into that at all, is it?
Not touching it. Now what I'm trying to do here is just see if I can just nip around the edge to loosen it off the ear canal. Obviously we can't risk going right behind this plug. There is a little gap there that you can just about see. Bit of a trick, and that's what I was trying to do, is just gently see if I could just turn that to the back end of this plug. I was kind of hoping that we would be able to almost roll it from the back to loosen it quite easy, but I just couldn't get behind there. I really couldn't get behind there. The rosin inserter probably would have, but I didn't want to risk putting the rosin inserter behind there because it's a bit more a flexible tool, that one.
Yeah, you don't tend, because it's not quite as sharp a degree angle. This is obviously 90 degrees, so it's really good at hooking and pulling through. With that rosin inserter, because it's that much more sort of gentler angle, even if you've got it past there, chances are I probably just would have flicked straight off the top when they wouldn't have got that grip. So this is kind of attached, is it, to a load of dry skin, and that's why it's not budging.
Yeah, there's a layer here. Now, this is one of the newer tools that we did introduce recently. And again, I just completely forgotten what it is. It's like a double-sided curettage tool, but it's almost got like a rounded rosin inserter on the one end and a really flat Jobson horn on the other. Yeah. Do you remember what it was called? There's the other end. No. This is a metal tool. Now the other tools that we use are more of like an acrylic. Now I went for this one just because it's a lot more rigid, obviously the metal being a lot more stiff. I thought I would be able to get a bit more of a grip, and I thought I'd be able to, just start getting this to roll, but it's just not budging at all. You see a little bit of movement here in a second. When I bring it slightly to the left, you'll see it moving a little bit.
It's not. Yeah, that is so wedged in there.
It happens occasionally where you see cases like this and you think, oh, this is going to be a follow-up. This is going to be another appointment. Use different types of drops. With these solid plugs, we would normally recommend like a sodium bicarbonate drop just to try and break it down.
A bit more of an aggressive wax softener. Yeah.
But fair play. This lady sat through the whole thing. Didn't complain of any discomfort, which I'm quite surprised at, because I had to put a little bit of pressure on some of this. We always check with the patient as well. I'm quite persistent with it as well. And I know most people will say if they're having obviously a problem with discomfort, but I'm constantly, are you okay? How are you feeling?
Always worth checking in with the patient because, we've both had this procedure done, so we know what it feels like. And, it's not painful, but it can be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, especially if you've got a very hard plug like this. But the patient would probably have experienced some discomfort anyway with that sitting in their ears, I would imagine.
Lying in bed was the worst for this particular patient because obviously any time the lady would lie on the ear, it was obviously closing the ear canal to just close slightly because that plug was only just past the first bend. So everyone's ear canals are shaped out. See, there's just a really difficult consistency. So everyone's ear canals are shaped like the letter S, or the majority of the population is shaped like the letter S, but it's more like an elongated S. So it's rather than it being like really angled, it's more like a stretched out S. You can see there's a lot of irritation there. But that's just purely where that's peeled away from the ear canal, and with this, some of the pressure we put there.
All our blood vessels all come into the surface really quickly, that's fine.
Instant relief as soon as that came out though. There was a little bit of a muffle to the hearing because there was only a tiny little gap there, but it was more the feel of that in there, which patient felt the most relief with.
So it was just under 1/2 inch, 1 centimetre that was, guys, just so this is my patient as well, this last one. Really interesting one. Make sure you stay tuned for the second eardrum on this one. It's a really interesting one. We've got a grade 2 sadly retraction in there as well, so make sure you stay tuned to take a look at that one. But basically this is a long strip of keratin straight off the bat, out this is coming. But look how that just peels out of the canal so easily. We did break away, unfortunately. We were hoping we were going to get a really long piece. But you've got basically keratin with bits of wax sort of spread along it as well in sort of clusters. So but look how that is peeling away from that canal wall. There's always that little bit of resistance, isn't it, when you pull these, and you're always there you go, I felt that it's just going to hold a bit tighter. So I tend to either drop a bit further back with the suction tube, or if it's really tight, I'll use the crocodile forceps in there. But you can see the colour difference as well from that older skin, the harder skin that's more sort of concentrated keratin in there compared to that fresher skin at the back, which is a much lighter colour. Eardrum's looking good, slightly retracted at the very top, just above the malleus in the pars flaccida region. But other than that, it's looking good. So this is slightly different. This doesn't look like keratin to start with.
Oh, look at that movie. Oh, I honestly thought that was going to be a really wet one to do.
It looked it, didn't it, to start with?
You can see that kind of sheen, that like reflection on the
almost a slurpy, milkshakey kind of consistency when you're sucking that up a straw.
Horrible ones to do. Horrible ones to do. I hate them.
They're never easy. With ones like that that are really, really wet, I would probably opt to use maybe a little bit of irrigation in there rather than suction, because I do find it's far more effective with a wetter wax. But this is coming away really well here. Look at that. So some nice big chunky plugs there coming away. We have got a nice bit of keratin for you to see, so keep an eye on this. What you can, now looking back at the video, I can see that it was going much, much further in, but at first glance it just looked like it was this section to the right. But look how this peels now all the way around the entrance to the canal. Look at this coming away.
I don't want to get out.
It's perfectly happy in there. It doesn't want to come out the ear canal. I'm having to move around it now, but keep an eye just past. When we take this next section down, look beyond it. Look at that keratin there, and look how far back that goes. Watch now. Look, it's going all the way down there. So that was anchored. And that's what we can see is we've got this keratin with a wax plug at the entrance to the canal, just blocking this epithelial migration. And then we get all the keratin sort of backing up in the system. But look how far down that goes. Make sure you stay tuned for the eardrum, guys. Really interesting. We get to see some interesting features on this one. So this eardrum looks very different. You can see it's quite retracted, very sucked in. So we can actually see the chorda tympani. That's the nerve that is involved in the anterior part of your tongue as far as taste is concerned. Your incus then, your malleus. So this is actually a SADE grade 2 retraction. And the reason it's like that is because it's pulled down onto the incus. It's not a grade 3 because we can't really see a clearly defined promontory through the eardrum there. So it's not a grade 3. And if it was stuck to the promontory, it would be a grade 4. So it's only, I would say it's a grade 2. There's always a real room for debate because other people will spot something, and say, well, I can see a little bit there. But it's kind of grade 2/grade 3. What have we got here? Through 2 and just over 2.5 inches. I'm going to go with that one.
Oh, that's 6.5 centimeters there.
There you go. So with that patient as well, because I know a couple of people are going to ask in the comment section, the reason it's like that is because the pressure of the air behind the eardrum is much lower than the outside air pressure, so it's pulling the eardrum in. It's usually due to something like a eustachian tube dysfunction, something along those lines. If you catch it early enough, sometimes like a surgeon will put a grommet in just to help out with that kind of problem. Sometimes when it gets repeatedly sucked in, if we are looking at eustachian tube dysfunction, that's going to just suck straight back in as soon as that grommet falls out. So it's very much the consultant's call as to what they do as far as that patient's concerned. But guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy the videos, you can always like, heart, share, follow, subscribe. And if you do have an ear problem yourself, check out the link tree in the description. You can actually reserve an appointment online now with myself or the lovely Mr. Taylor Green. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves.
Take care of your ears.
And take care of one another. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. As always, guys, I will see you for the next video. Bye, everyone.
Bye.